Hello YouTube, today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on stereo separation in your tracks. It's a way to enhance your music, make it sound better, and it basically just gives it a more of a stereo feel. By that I mean panning stuff left and right. To start off with, I've got a little diagram just so you understand what I'm talking about. It's a very badly drawn picture, but I mean it gets to the point. If you can pretend this is a room, when you hear music or anything in the world, if you're standing in the front of the room, you can hear certain stuff, and if you're standing at the back, it might be less quiet if the music's coming from the front. And if you're standing to the left side or to the right side, you might hear different things. And then also how loud it is, so how you can hear it no matter where you are in the room. So with music, we can do all three of those, kind of making your song 3D. You can use the volume knob to make it however loud you want it to be in the room for everyone to hear. The panning, which we're going to talk about today, is going to be the left and the right. If you're one side of the room, you might hear something on the right side of the song more than the left side. And then also the depth, how far back or how closely it sounds to you from wherever you're standing in the room. With panning, I just went on Google, I typed in instrument panning, and it shows you this. If you think of a drum set, the kick drum's in dead center. No matter where you are in the room, you want to be able to hear the kick, so the kick's put in the center. Then the snares just a little bit to the side, and then the hats so even more to the side, and they're kind of higher up. So you can hear them more to the left side or the right side, whereas the kick drum, you can hear it down the middle, and you kind of want your music to be the same. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And I've just made a little MIDI operator just playing a sound, and I'm going to move it left to right. If you can hear this in your headphones, then good. If not, then this tutorial probably won't make a lot of sense to you. So if you just give this a listen. That was with my track playing, but it doesn't matter. If you heard the beep sound moving around, then you should be fine. Let me just check the master channel real quick. Okay, I've got the utility turned off. And I'm actually doing this tutorial with one headphone, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense for me, but I'm hoping once I get done and I listen to it back, it would have worked. First things first, this is my track. It's called Drop That. It's trap. Trap's on the rise right now with the Harlem Shake and all that. So I thought I'd do a tutorial with this track that I made. But basically, with stereo imaging, if you even just listen to the intro of the track, you should be able to hear it. I'm gonna turn that off, and on the master I've got this utility, so when it starts off now, it's going to be completely mono. The same thing that's coming in the right headphone should be coming in the left, so I'll play that. And now I'm going to turn this off, and you should feel it get wide. And so with that, you should have really heard the difference there. And stuff that you can do to make it do that is, for example, with my pads, all this stuff is frozen right now, but if you look carefully, you can see I've basically just put an auto pan, and that makes it go from left to right. So with my pads and stuff that are playing the whole song, they're constantly panning left, right, just to give you that stereo feel. So here's an auto pan in there. If I play just the turn myself there. If I play just the strings, let me get me and the strings, and I'm going to mess around with this control, you'll be able to hear what it does. Now as I turn it up more, it only comes through one headphone and then in and out more. It's more extreme. Now in the trap, obviously you don't want it to be that extreme. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I had it at 50%. And basically how the auto pan works is the amount is how much it's going to go from left to right. The phase is, if you have it on 180, the phase will basically go from one side to the other. Whereas if you have the phase as 0, it's going to do this with the volume up, down, up, down. Whereas at 180, 180. It's doing the left headphone up, down, up, while the right headphone's going down, up. So it seems like it's more of a stereo feel, if that makes sense. So like with your pads and your strings and stuff like that, I normally put an auto pan on them and make them move from left to right, because as you can see, they're constantly playing all the way through my track. Now, with stuff like my synths, I'll just pan them to the right. So with this, cut myself off again. With this arpeggiator, it's 8 to the right, which is just slightly, but throughout the whole track, it's on the same side. Whereas now, if I drop the bells in, they're also on the right, but then there's other stuff on the left. So like the bells are more pushed off to the right than the arpeggiator is, so it gives it its own space. And then I've got this kind of dubstep kind of raw sound, which is on that's on the right too. I don't know why. And then the main synth here, you'll hear it start coming in. It's coming in on the left. So all these are all synths, so they mainly take up the same space. So I normally just tell people anything that takes up the same frequency on your spectrum, you want to pan it left and right. And then also, let's see, with some of these effects, like I have this hydraulic sound and it's 10 to the right. So if you listen, you'll hear it. It's more on the right than the left. Let's solo me and that. But then with stuff like my riser, it pans from left to right. So I'm just going to put on that and this impact sound, which is on the right. Just solo them all out, and you should be able to hear how it all kind of moves in with each other. So there's that impact sound. Then this riser that I made comes in. So it's constantly moving from one side to another, and hopefully that makes sense to you and this has worked out well. I also, with my snares, I did a lot with the snares too. Say like if we just go through 8 bars, turn myself off again. If we go through 8 bars of it, like right here, you'll see that certain stuff's panned. So as it goes, so hopefully with that you would have been able to hear the stereo separation. But it's kind of the same thing with that. And then if you listen to my kick now, let's do solo that, unsolo this. If you listen to my kick, it's dead down the middle, so it's there. And if you look at this, if I turn the clap off, you'll see that the line here is straight the whole time. So that means whatever's coming in the right is coming into the left at the same volume. And how you can make sure that it does that is click on your kick, and at the end of your chain, you know, I've got some EQ and stuff here, but you want to make sure that you have I don't think I have one on here because I think the kick was just fine how it was. But if you do see a kick that when you play it and this line isn't completely straight, what you want to do is grab a utility, audio effects, go down, grab a utility, just whack it on the end there, and then drag the width down to 0. And you always want to make sure it's like that with your kicks. And also my sub is the exact same. So anything that's in the middle of your track, I normally say anything that's in the lower half of the spectrum, you want it to be more in the middle. And as you go higher, it should be more spread out. So if we listen to the kick and the sub, it's gonna be really dead down the center. You might want to turn your headphones down because this might come out loud, but you know, it sounds like it's dead down the center. Whereas if you listen to the riser here, it's gonna be going from side to side. So it starts off in the middle, and as it's going, you'll see the snare drum, it'll pan up. So, I mean, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. That's really all there is to it. If it's the same frequency, or you see it hitting the same frequency on your spectrum, try and pan one to one side, one to the other. Anything that's playing over maybe the whole track, just put the auto pan on it, so just it's moving constantly, and you don't have to type in automation like to click it and make it start here and then go here and then come back down here. That will take too long, so just chuck the auto pan on it and that does it for you. Also, there are a lot of panning and stuff on your effects. Get different effects and just give your track variation. If you like the tutorial, hit like, comment if you got any questions, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try and do a couple more tutorials. Check out my other YouTube channel, youtube.com/IDJ247. That's got all my music on it. Drop that. That's the track we're just listening to, so make sure you go check it out. Facebook, Twitter. Go on my Twitter, @DJ247. That's me. And then also facebook.com/like DJ247. Go on there, hit like, free downloads, all my tutorials and stuff. You'll get a lot of downloads and freebies in there. If you have a suggestion for another tutorial, drop it in the comments below. But that's it. I'm out. See ya.